Hi everybody, welcome to Marvel Future Fight here on G4G. I'm your host Napalm Dawn. Today we are going to be discussing my world boss teams. So, disclaimer before we get into this, I'm not a pro at Marvel Future Fight. I consider myself middle medium, maybe approaching the low end of upper, very, very low end, like right over the border, but I don't consider myself anywhere near as high powered in this game as I finished up Marvel Avengers Alliance and, the last year and a half of MAA and MAA2 and everything. Marvel Future Fight was running concurrent to Marvel Avengers Alliance for me for a little while, along with Contest of Champions, but I was treating MFF as kind of do the dailies and get out. And I considered myself underpowered for a long time, had not completed all the chapters, absolutely bitched when PvP was changed and you didn't have the list and you had to fight with what the game gave you or re-roll, and the re-roll was expensive. And I was just like, I started thinking the game was getting a little cash grabby. Since MAA died, however, I have thrown myself kind of headlong into this game. And it definitely occupies a good amount of time per day for me. And typically what I do is on an emulator, I run a lot of brainless stuff. So that's anything in the daily challenge that can be auto-completed. Things like auto-ran, really. Not auto-completed, but auto-ran. Like the dailies and stories and stuff. But then I manually do things like Villain Siege, World Bosses, PvP, and Alliance Battles and everything. Anything that requires manual human input and high levels of control, I do that myself on a tablet or something. Generally is one of the better devices that I can find to make sure things don't screw up. Sometimes it's an iPhone 5 because it's in my pocket. Sometimes it's my Shield tablet, which is honestly the best device for me in running this. I also run the Epic Quest because I'm trying to tier 2 AO or Ancient 1, and it sucked up a lot of time during the Asgardian event because you had to do a lot of stuff to get the tokens for that. Now that the Asgardian event is over, I'm looking to calm this back down to normal. And of course, I am doing the boss events over here. And I generally try to help complete the quest as much as possible. That's not always the case. Like here, clear the stage with 3 superheroes. Yeah, I could easily run this 3 times with all superheroes, or at least 2. Everybody says, the extra mission is not quite the best thing to go for. Go with what really kills things, but, I at least try. So, for this video, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to inundate you with another one tomorrow sometime because we are going to have maintenance, and this is going to be an update that releases new items. So here's what we're going to do. Since you may not want to get spoiled on it, when you see me bring up Hulkbuster's stats over here, that is when the spoiler is over. So if you don't want to get spoiled as to what's coming in the patch, then mute your audio until you see Hulkbuster on the screen in 3, 2, 1. So, spoilers, the patch that we're getting in about 9 hours or so from now is going to give us 3 new female characters. Ironheart, Medusa, and Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. So, a little bit of backstory. Ironheart is the new Iron Man, which is Riri Williams, the young black girl, who kind of looks like Misty Knight. If you look at Misty Knight's fro and you look at Riri's, they do look similar. Not exactly alike, but similar. Not to offend anybody by calling them, like, what do you mean we all look alike? What do you mean we? What do you mean you people? So they just look similar, but Ironheart kind of looks like an aggressive rescue in the trailer footage. She looks like if Rescue was really outfitted with Iron Man stuff and kind of like Gundam thrusters and everything. She might be fun. I mean, Iron Man in this game, he's okay. Some people T2 him. He's not amazing. You don't really see him in things outside of maybe PvP and the WBI. Hulkbuster was recently T2'd, and he's decent. He holds his own at T2, and honestly, he was one of the better non-T2able tunes for a long time, along with Loki. For example, like Black Dwarf, you can bring him in, and even though he's a physical attacker, he does have energy that can kind of push you through the rage, and he can take the hit if need be. Medusa, of course, helps us round out the Inhuman lineup, along with Black Bolt, and of course we have Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. I think she's classified as an Inhuman. I don't really... I mean, in Marvel Avengers Alliance, she brought in the dog, the Blank Dog. So, I would think that she's being classified as Inhuman. And Quake in this game is also being classified as Inhuman. So, and I guess Lincoln Campbell is too. I don't know that much about Lincoln Campbell, but I believe he's considered an Inhuman, so we're rounding out the Inhuman lineup over here. Medusa was okay in Marvel Avengers Alliance. An odd thing of being an infiltrator tank. Kind of like Abomination. She was one of the original infiltrator tanks that we had to deal with. Some people liked her. We didn't see her in a whole lot of high-level play, but she could be interesting in this game. And then, of course, we have Kate Bishop, Lady Hawkeye, Tits Hawkeye, whatever. You can't really say like Floki, female Loki. Fuckeye doesn't really work there. Fuckeye just sounds weird. Sounds like you're saying Fockers from Meet the Parents or something. But Femme Hawkeye, Lady Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, KB, whatever she's going to get called. I'm not that impressed by the trailer. I mean, Hawkeye's really nothing in the game right now, other than being kind of a starter hero, so I don't know that she'll make an impact or necessarily be fun. I'm going to call it right now and say that, believe it or not, I think Ironheart is going to be the best out of the three. So, I'm going to go ahead and end the spoilers here. Okay, so if you've muted the audio to avoid the spoilers, let's go ahead and talk about the team-ups that I'm using for my world bosses currently. And I'm going to go down the list of who I use for everybody. And then if I've got time, I might touch upon what I do for my alliance battles. So as you can see here, I've 5 killed Black Dwarf. And Black Dwarf is usually one of the hardest ones to 5-bang when you're first getting started. Proxima is always like the easiest, and some people can even deal with Thanos a little bit harder than Black Dwarf, but people tend to consider Thanos and Black Dwarf to be the toughest two, and some people just throw their best line at BD and just walk away. I don't necessarily know that I'm going to 5-bang these bosses every single time, because it is a lot of work, and sometimes you get the team that wins but is sketchy. But I wanted about 2 weeks of data, 2 times of doing these bosses each, to present you with honest to goodness data here and everything. So, when I give you my loadout, the first thing that you're going to hear is my leader. Then the next thing that you're going to hear is my main hitter. And then the third that you hear is just kind of a follow-up, or maybe somebody who has a double bonus with somebody else on the team. So, in dealing with Proxima, my first team is Ulick, Carnage, and Moon Knight. To be honest, I think I didn't do Proxima this week, so I don't have 2 weeks of data on her. But she's generally the easiest. So I think I would honestly take Moon Knight out and add Thor in there just for the bonus with Ulick. To be honest, this is kind of an overkill line. Ulick might be able to do things himself. My notes were that Ulick did a lot of work and Carnage finished up and the fight took about a minute. Who my strikers were, I'm not really too sure, but my guess is that I would go Hulkbuster, probably Proxima, Sharog, and that is really about it for my physical attackers. I bring Strange in for the freeze, and then I might have done a decreased damage from supervillains, or I might have gone for more attack, like bringing in AO. So that's kind of what my Proxima first team looks like. And I may change Thor into that. But originally I had Ulick, Carnage, and Moon Knight. So my second team was Hela. She's out. Yeah, she's out because she got used. Hela, Chanty, and Ultron. My strikers were Proxima, Sharog, AO, Strange, and Marvel. My notes were that it was only 40 seconds and there was no second in rage. So anytime you hear no second in rage, that's a very, very good team. Hela was the leader, Chanty was the main hitter, and Ultron was there to follow up. Honestly, I may take Ultron out and put somebody who has a 2-shot bonus with either Chanty or Hela. But that tends to get into the Loki area, and Loki's on a separate team. So that's part of the reason why I 6-starred my Thor, was to give me some additional Asgardian bonuses and can stay away from combining Loki with some others because he's on his own. She is on his own, her team. But 40 seconds, no second range is good. Next team up, Marvel, Sharog, and Hyperion. So this one's very energy based. Sharog was the hitter, Marvel was the leader. My strikers were Proxima, AO, Strange, Carnage, and Iron Fist, and it only lasted 30 seconds. That is going to change in the future because I tend to pair up Iron Fist now with Strange because they have a bonus. My fourth team was Clea, Strange, and Satana, with hitters strikers being Chanty, Proc, Sharog, AO, and Marvel. Again, 30 to 40 seconds on that one, super fast. And then finally, AO, Songbird, and Loki, with the hitters of Chanty, Prox, Sharog, Strange, and Marvel. My notes were that it didn't really take a whole lot of damage, but it took 2 minutes. Probably that was before I had fixed my Loki with cold damage obelisk and everything. They do better later in the week for the first week. So AO, Songbird, and Loki's kind of garbage. It was a throwaway team to just 5-star it. That's one that deserves to be changed a little bit. And you'll see where this changes in some later bosses here. So Black Dwarf, as you can see, my second day is up with him today. First, Captain Marvel, Sharog, and Kingpin, with the strikers being Proxima, AO, Strange, Carnage, and Ultron. However, this week I did it as AO, Strange, Carnage, Wiccan, and Iron Man. Battle only lasted 45 seconds, so Iron Man is a new 6-star to me, as is Wiccan. And that just helps me buff up the energy team. So there's a Wiccan. And Iron Man got used, so you're not going to see him in this list over here. So I'm really happy with my energy attackers. I feel like my physical attackers can use a little bit more love. I mean, there are some people like Hulkbuster that are all attack. And the way that it is right now is that my all attackers are going to help my physicals because my energies are just, they're really deep. Next team was Ulick, Carnage, and Ant-Man. And this week it was Iron Man, Proxima, and Ant-Man. So Ulik, Carnage, and Ant-Man in the first week, they had the strikers of Hulkbuster, Prox, Sharog, Strange, and Ultron. Carnage was listed as dying at the end, but Ulik finished strong. So Ulik is pretty good because of his one of his abilities that makes him immune to physical damage, and if you really jack your crit rate up, you have a chance to reset all of your cooldowns, including his invincibility, which is one of the reasons why I T2'd him. So if we look here at my details, he's up to a 74.14 critical rate and a 34% critical damage. And you'll see over here that he is running a crit obelisk. He's got a freeze proc on there, but I'm almost afraid to continue buffing this up and lose that second crit amount. The proc helps him when he does other stuff, but it really is not going to help against world bosses or anything. And it's not too bad for like an alliance battle, freezing mobs or something, but of course it's not really going to work on the beast. But Troll's Roar, this is the big key to him over here. He has an increase to hero types, which is okay, but he has that physical damage immunity for 5, and then it's down for 10 unless you get a reset off of a crit. So he's pretty good against some of the world bosses because of that. But in the first week, Carnage was the hitter, and in this week, I was having a lot of problems with that team. They were dying a lot. I was getting caught out by Black Dwarf's big-ass fucking spin whirl over there. And he was kind of melting my team. So I went with Iron Man, Proxima, and Ant-Man, because Iron Man and Ant-Man have a two-person bonus. And Proxima did energy damage. My strikers were AO, Strange, Wiccan, Carnage, and Silk for dodge. I had to play that one really tight. Like, I couldn't just... It's not one you want to mash. You have to dodge. You have to run out of things. You have to do your swaps a little bit to run some cooldowns. So this one's going to be shaky going forward. Up next in week 1 was Hela, Chanty, and Ultron, with Prox, Sharog, AO, Strange, and Marvel being my strikers. But this week I did AO, Chanty, Songbird. The reason being it's all blasters, and AO has that really good leadership for blasters, which I will highlight for you here. And my strikers for that one were Prox, Strange, Sharog, Wiccan, and IM. So as you can see, I'm enjoying my new 6-star energy helpers over there. And we wanted to take a look at AO. So, AO's over here. She's very, very close to getting tier 2'd. Just a little bit more. I might have the BIOS to push today, but her big thing, as we see over here, is she has Mystic Recharge for herself, but blast types get a whopping plus 45 energy attack. And I'm going to be going for this, that Ancient Harmony. So that Magic Resonance is a big key for energy blasters. And that's why she's the leader for that. And the strikers this week, I told you, Proc, Strange, Sharog, Wiccan, and IM. I have it listed as 45 seconds. Which is pretty good for Black Dwarf. Last week I did AO, Strange, and Songbird, with Chanty, Prox, Sharog, Hela, and Marvel being the strikers. I have it listed as being very, very close to being as good as the Hela, Chanty, Ultron one. This week I swapped it up and I had Clea, Strange, and Iron Fist in that slot. So Clea, Iron Fist, and Strange. The reason why I did that is there is a good bonus for Strange and Iron Fist, and it really works out pretty well, and then you get another bonus with Strange and Clea. My hitters were Chanty AO, Wiccan, or Iron Man, and Marvel. It lasted about 50 to 55 seconds. However, he only enraged once, so I basically locked him out of an entire phase. Not the fastest, but pretty much the most brain dead easy. It was like absolute cruise control. And then finally, last week, I ran Ronan, Loki, and Clea with Shanty, Prox, AO, Strange, and Marvel. I had that listed as the best team of the night. And that was the one that had me laughing in tears, too, because that was my first 5-bang of Black Dwarf. And I got out of that one, and the smile on my face was like anime. I mean, it was like I was photoshopped with a grin on my face because I was so happy to have done that to Black Dwarf. That team mauls him. And this week I did Ronan, Loki, and Hela. So Ronan buffs Loki being a universal, and Loki has synergy with Hela. And I ran Shanty, Sharog, AO, Strange, and Marvel. 50 seconds, but he melts. Loki has Black Dwarf's number like you wouldn't believe. I mean, just runs all over Black Dwarf. I might have I started off with Ronan a little bit. I had Ronan do like 2 abilities. But then I was like, yeah, okay, Ronan's getting his ass kicked. Let me just go Loki. And just Loki erases him from existence. Let me show you my Loki to give you perspective. Again, not going to be the best, but it got better for me. So, a cold damage obelisk with a crit rate, and then he has the energy meteor, which is honestly why I'm trying to tweak this one over to being a top level obelisk, because this energy attack is it's okay. But yeah, tier 2 Loki just runs all over, and I've got a skill cooldown over there, and I have to uru him her up a little bit more, that I have another skill cooldown. It works for me because my cards are not that great. For Corvus Glaive, I ran Ulik, Carnage, and White Tiger. And my strikers were HB, Prox, Sharog, AO, and Strange. I have a note to move in Iron Fist for AO as a hitter. Carnage, again, is just going to do the meat of the work. Ulik is there for the bonus. Then I have Hela, Chanty, and Ultron with the same strikers as Black Dwarf. Black Dawn was an old UT clan that I used to fight against quite often. My strikers the next time around were Prox, Sharog, Strange, Carnage, and Marvel. So I tweaked up the strikers, but I didn't tweak up the main line. It still worked just as well. Third team was Marvel, Sharog, and Kingpin. And I have it as the same strikers as Black Dawn. I did it again, Black Dwarf. Except I moved out Songbird and put in Carnage as a striker. Fourth team was AO, Ancient One, leading for Strange and Satana. Again, my same strikers as Black Dwarf, but I have a note to move in Gwenpool for Proxima. So Gwenpool had leveled in there too to be 6 stars. And she's got that all speed, and she's definitely one of the ones that I have that I want a tier 2 now. She deserves a little bit of love. And then finally, Ronan, Loki, and Clea. I have a note that I ran the same strikers as Black Dwarf, but it wasn't nearly as much fun. The second time I did it, I tweaked it to be Ronan, Loki, and Proxima, with the strikers of Chanty, Sharog, AO, Strange, and Marvel. Generally, with me, you're going to hear Strange in almost everything as a striker, and Marvel in almost every energy one. Again, Corv might change going forward with the addition of Iron Man and Wiccan to my energy team-ups. Shuggy, or Supergiant Sugi, she got Ulick, Carnage, White Tiger the first time with HB, Prox, Sharog, Ao, and Strange. And then the second time I did it with Ulick, Carnage, and Thor. Ulick did the first two Corvs. Well, that's a misplaced note. Oh, I added... Yeah, okay. So my Corv had Ulick, Carnage, and Thor the second week, with Ulick doing the first two Corvs, and then Carnage finishing it out. Okay. So make note of that. I changed something there for my Corvus run on that team. Then I ran Hella, Chanty, and Quake. I have Hella, Chanty, and Quake coming in faster on Shuggy than Hella, Chanty, and Ultron did on Corv. Next team was Marvel, Sharog, and Kingpin, with Prox, Ao, Strange, Carnage, and Hella doing the strikers, listed as under a minute. Very good. Ao, Strange, and Satana, with Chanty, Prox, Sharog, Carnage, and Marvel, have it listed as slightly slower than the 1 minute time of the team before. And then Ronan, Loki, and Clea, with Chanty, Sharog, Strange, Marvel, and Hella. I have it listed as that I had some issues, but it was the same speed as the last two teams. So, apparently I had some issues there. Might need to bring in a mind resistance or something, but that's what I had. Ebony Maw. I had Ulick, Carnage, White Tiger, along with strikers of HB, Prox, Sharog, Ao, and Strange. Hella, Chanty, Satana, with strikers of Prox, Sharog, Ao, Strange, Marvel. My note is that Hella started, and then Chanty just stood and banged after a little bit, about 50 to 55 seconds. Hyperion, Sharog, and Marvel, with Prox, Ao, Strange, Hella, Kingpin. I have it as meh, slightly slower than the above. Use Sharog the full time. Don't try to get fancy. Ao, Strange, and Iron Fist. So this was the beginning of when I started to work Strange with Iron Fist. Chanty, Prox, Sharog, Marvel, and Quake were the strikers. Slower than the Chanty team up, but use Strange the whole way. And then Ronan, Loki, and Clea with Chanty, Ao, Sharog, Strange, and Marvel. Pretty quick, second fastest against Ebony Maw. So as you can see, you're hearing some themes here. There's usually a Ronan Loki team up going on. I think I'm going to feed Loki Hella from now on and leave Clea for other people. For Thanos, I attempted to 5-bang him and only got him to 4. The one time that I tried, and that was the last Thanos that was up. I ran Marvel, Sharog, Kingpin with Prox, Ao, Strange, Carnage, and Iron Man. Very good. I used Kingpin to tank the Meteor Swarm. This was one that I was discussing in some groups that I'm in and seemed to surprise people, but they actually were like, huh, okay, it's kind of interesting. I like what you did on that one. That makes sense. By the way, when I say Kingpin, I mean Blast Pin, or sometimes people refer to him as Bling Pin. It's the blaster one that has the ninjas. The hand ninjas over here. I mean, you get a bunch of them when you do that. It sounds like it's one, but it's not. It's 6 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them. And his leadership when he's a striker is that he lowers the cooldown of your call-in. But as you can see, I ran him. I didn't run him as a leader though. I could have used him for the extra hit points, but I didn't. Next team up was Ulick, Carnage, and White Tiger, and you might see where I'm going with this one. But my strikers were HB, Prox, Sharog, Strange, and Ultron. Pretty solid. Ulick went for a while, died. White Tiger comes in and uses her invincibility for the Meteor. You need pretty good timing on that one. That's a fun one to do because it's very active. It's not brain dead. It's action oriented, that team up. AO Strange and Iron Fist, so there's the AO Strange Iron Fist team again. Chanty, Proc, Sharog, Marvel, and Iron Man. Use Strange the whole way. If you want to, you can use AO and her dome to tank the meteors. And so the next time I fight Thanos, AO's going to be tier 2, which is pretty cool. And then after that, I'm going to be going for Clea. Then the fourth group was Hela, Chanty, and Clea, with Proc, Sharog, Strange, Iron Man, and Marvel. And my note is just let Chanty bang. I think you can imagine just drop in with Hela, switch to Chanty as soon as possible, give him the pink hearts, and just go to town. I don't think I did anything special with the meteors there. I think she just took it. And then my fifth and final team was Ronan, Loki, and Thor, and Ronan, Loki, and Prox, and I have them listed as both failing. So I managed to 4-shot Thanos, not 5. I do not have anything for iThanos yet. I have not tried to put together a team for him. I would probably start fighting Infinity Thanos with like my best and see if I have any leeway over there, but my most fun one so far, obviously Proxima because you roll her, Black Dwarf with energy people, and those are my top 2. Ebony Maw pisses me off because he always seems to warp out when you do an ability that you would consider crucial, like maybe Carnage's invincibility or his little heal blobs, and he phases out and you chew up the cooldown. You're like, fuck, god damn it, now I gotta wait 10 seconds for my blobs. Final notes is for my Alliance Battle days. For Universal Day, I ran Ronan, Loki, Hela. Ronan took the first beast or two, and then Loki finished it up. I tried a Loki, Thor, Angela combo, but it failed. Along with Universal Day was Blast, Extreme, AB, and I ran I Am Strange and Kingpin. Iron Man, Strange, and Kingpin. For Female Day, I had Loki, Chanty, Hela. Loki did the most. Chanty finished it off towards the tail end. And then for the second time that I did that one, I did the Blonde Women team up, which is Agent Carter, Marvel, and Chanty, which freed up Loki to do Universal XAB. So Ronan, Loki, and Hela did that one. Supervillain Day, Loki, Carnage, Chanty. Pretty self-explanatory there. For Blast Day, AO, Strange, and Chanty. And then Universal Hero Extreme AB, I did Clea, Marvel, and Singularity for lots of skill reductions, skill cooldowns, one time. And then the next time I did Marvel, Satana, and Damon. And then Speed Day, which is one of my weakest, I did Agent 13, Elsa, and Silk. And I was listed as failing, which is clearly performance on my part because Elsa really should be able to do it. Gwenpool is now going to be in there a little bit, but Gwenpool, I need to work her up a little bit more. I know she's kind of a big key for Speed Day. So, finally, let me show you my card stats over here because that comes into play. They're not good. They're not really great. I tried to get as many of the resistances out, but my cooldown time is not what it should be. My all attack isn't what it should be. This is not pro right here. The crit rate is not too bad. This really helps Ulik. And some of these, my defense penetration I know is trash. My cooldown time is trash. I know that one. And some of the others are okay. I gotta work that recovery rate down and the 2 resistances, but I'm trying. I've got a 5 Drax, a 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a 2 Star-Lord, a 3 Loki, and a 4 Avengers over there. And my cards that are waiting to be worked up... Is that one ready? Do I have enough? Okay. Neat. I got a card somewhere. So I have to go and look at... Honestly, that Agent of Asgard Loki one is not too bad to wrap up. I think that's going to be the one that I will push up into the next tier. So all defense, max hit points, dodge. This one, honestly, this Ant-Man is not particularly bad with the energy attack and the crit, the crowd control time. I really do believe it's gonna be this. It's gonna be this Loki coming up. As a matter of fact, let's do it. That's not awful. That really isn't awful at all. All attack, all defense, and continued cooldown time, so... Yeah, I have to work my cards up a little bit. That's definitely one of my weakest. But there you go, guys. There is who an average-ish, slightly better than average MFF player is bringing to the world bosses. I'm not a high alliance person. I'm not any of these people that's known ridiculously well in the community, and everybody's like, "Ooh, we got to copy this guy because he knows what he's doing." It's not me, so don't look at this video from that perspective. I'm just trying to help people who are starting and are just getting to the point where they do their world bosses and maybe need some ideas for teams, or maybe I revealed something to you that you're like, oh, okay, I like, yeah, all right, Kingpin tanking the meteors with the ninjas and everything. That makes sense. Maybe something like that will help you out. Or, oh, yeah, Ronan Loki Universal Boost. Yeah, duh. So let me know what you think, and if you've got any refinements to some of the teams that I listed with these kind of heroes over there, and like, dude, you have so-and-so, and you didn't mention it. What the fuck are you doing? Then let me know. So my tier 2s are Moon Knight, Ulik, Elsa, Silk, Sharog, Hulkbuster, Marvel, Ultron, Loki, Strange, Shanty, Prox, Carnage, Songbird. Corvus is on his way up. These three have had nothing done. And then my 6, but not tier 2, is White Tiger, Ronin, Gwenpool, AO. She's going to be tier 2 soon. Iron Fist, Satana, Clea, going to be tier 2 soon. Hype, Quake, Ant-Man, Kingpin, Deathlock, Black Widow, Hela, Iron Man, and then that's it. I do want to get Captain America up there because of bonuses, not to do a lot of work, but just bonuses. And I know Yellow Jacket is a pretty big key to get up there, and actually so is Agent Carter for speed stuff. And then there's my Thor and my Wiccan that are 6-starred but need to level. And Venom over here. He's got some good team-ups. I kind of want to get him going, not for himself, but for team-ups. Red Skull for some team-ups. Singularity for some team-ups. And I really want to try a flame team with Angela, Damon, and Satana. I just don't know when it'll happen. And there's my Wasp. I know a lot of Alliance Tournament people love Wasp. Oh, hi. Didn't know he was ready. I think I was feeding his bios over to Corvus and he slipped by. But, yeah, so I got some people that I'm going to be feeding over to Corvus. Jane Thor. The Warriors 3, I'm hearing some decent stuff about them, but I'm not in quite the hurry to push them up as I was. And I'm trying to work on where Warwolf, I hear a lot of people talking about him too. So, there you go, guys. Let me know what you think. Peace out.